My name is Emma, and I live in a small gray house on Maple Street in Chicago, America. The porch sags a little, but the front door is bright red because I painted it myself one warm Saturday with a $12 brush and a cheap can of paint that claimed one coat and needed three. Inside, the living room smells faintly of lemon cleaner and old books. Mark, my husband, built the white crib last winter and set it by the window where the morning light falls. We counted the weeks and planned the songs I would sing. But plans bend fast. One Thursday at dawn, my daughter, Ruby, arrived early. The world went to beeps and blue light. I held a pen, signed forms I didn't read, and stepped into the NICU, where time has no edges. I did what people do. I opened my phone and typed to the family group chat, "We're in the NICU, please pray." I watched the message sit there, small and black. A gray bubble blinked, then stopped. After a minute, my Aunt Diane replied with photos from Hawaii, wide blue water, a sun hat, a drink with a paper umbrella. No words, not even "oh no." I stared at the pictures until the screen dimmed. Nobody came. My brother Luke sent nothing. I told myself they were worried and did not know what to say. Still, the silence settled on my shoulders like a heavy coat I had to wear indoors. Nurse Grace showed me the rules of this new place. Wash hands for a long time. Speak soft. Touch with 2 fingers, right here on the back, so Ruby knows I am here without waking her too hard. Dr. Samuel explained the numbers on the screen in short, careful lines. "She's small," he said, "but she is strong." He used the word stable the way a carpenter checks a stair, 1 foot, then the other. I learned the costs too. $9 coffee, $3 granola bar, $38 to park all day. A printout said the bill so far was around $85,000 before insurance. I folded the paper and slid it into my bag like it might cool down if I kept it in the dark. The cafeteria became my waiting room. It smelled like fries and bleach. I kept a notebook in my pocket and wrote down tiny things that felt big. 2:14 p.m. oxygen up. For p.m. Ruby held my finger. 6:20 p.m. I ate half a sandwich. I thought of our house, the red door and the white crib and the yellow blanket my friend Sarah knit for $25 in yarn and a lot of love. That house was quiet now, but it waited like a loyal dog, nose pressed to the glass, sure we would come back. At night, when the city hummed and the NICU lights were soft, I scrolled through old photos. There was Mark on our porch, holding a set of keys like they were treasure. There was Luke in our kitchen, drinking a $2 soda and fixing the wobbly chair with a smug grin. There was Diane at last year's barbecue, laughing too loud and bringing a pie she bought for $14 and swore she made. People are a mix of help and hurt. I reminded myself of that when the hurt felt louder. Around midnight, my phone chimed again. A friend from college in Denver sent $25 and a note. "For coffee. I love you." I cried over $25 like it was a fortune. Maybe it was. Maybe money is not only bills and numbers, but a way to say, "I cannot come right now, but I am standing near you." I pressed my hand to the plastic wall of Ruby's isolette and told her a simple story about our house, our street, our city, and how America is big enough to hold fear and hope at the same time. Somewhere far across the ocean, Europe slept, but here, in the bright midnight of Chicago, my small girl breathed, and I kept watch. A month later, I was still in the hospital cafeteria, staring at a paper cup with $9 coffee I had reheated twice. The chair under me felt made of stone. I had a parking ticket folded like a sharp leaf in my pocket and a list of numbers from the morning. Weight up 2 ounces, oxygen steady, heart rate skittering but brave. I checked my phone for the 100th time and saw what I had missed while I was counting. 62 missed calls and a text from my brother, Luke. "Pick up, it's bad." I answered on the first ring. "What is it?" My voice came out thin. "It's Mom," he said. She fell down the back steps. The neighbor, Olivia, called it in. They took her to County General. She was awake, but now they're running tests. "Can you come?" He breathed hard, like the words were burning on the way out. I looked through the glass toward the NICU. Ruby was in there, tucked under a tiny cap, fighting in her quiet way. "I can come for a little while," I said. "I won't be long." Mark was already standing beside me, reading my face the way he reads a blueprint. He reached for the keys without a word. I left a $1 tip by the coffee, as if the cafeteria could notice, as if small kindness could pay rent on this day. We drove across Chicago with the radio off. The city looked washed out, like someone had pulled a gray sheet over it. When we reached County General, the guard waved us through, and the elevator smelled like old pennies. Mom lay propped in a narrow bed, a bruise blooming near her temple, a soft bandage at the edge of her hairline. She gave me a small smile. "You look tired," she said, and somehow that made me laugh. Luke stood on the other side, hands jammed in his jacket pockets. He kept saying, "I should have fixed that loose rail. I meant to do it last weekend." A nurse came in and checked the monitor, then said a doctor would be back with the scan results. The waiting felt like standing in a cold doorway. I counted minutes on the clock and dollars in my head. Gas today, maybe $15. Parking, $12 if we were lucky. Dinner for Dad, $20 would get him a sandwich and soup, since he never cooks when Mom isn't home. I took a folded $50 from my wallet and slid it under Dad's glasses case on the tray.
"For dinner," I said.
He tried to push it back, but I closed his fingers over it. "Please." Money was our family's second language. We used it to say what we could not say out loud. I checked my phone. A new message from my Aunt Diane blinked. "How is Ruby?" I typed, "Still stable," and she sent back, "I can help with money, $300 right now or 200 pounds from an old account, tell me." I wrote, "Dollars please," and put the phone face down. The doctor finally came. "Concussion," he said, gentle but brisk. "No bleed. Scans are clean. We'll keep her for observation." Relief came like a quick summer rain, thin, bright, gone too fast.
2 days, the nurse added.
I nodded and did more math. 2 days of rides, 2 days of worry, 2 days of splitting myself in half. Luke said he would fix the steps after work, and I believed him. He pressed $40 into my palm for parking. We never hugged much growing up, but we hugged in a hallway, and it didn't feel strange. On the drive back, the late light slid over brick and glass. I watched tall windows flash by and thought of Europe again, the idea of crossing an ocean when you want a new start. I had not crossed any sea, but I had still left my old life behind. At the hospital, Nurse Grace met me at the door. "Ruby did well," she said. "You can hold her at 9. My whole body ached with hope. I sent a message to the family chat. "Mom is okay. Ruby is steady." This time, replies appeared fast, Luke's heart emoji, Dad's thank you, and a note from Diane, $300. I rested my head on the cool window and let the day loosen its grip. I had spent so many hours trying to be enough. Tonight, I let help in. We drove back to our small gray house on Maple Street in Chicago, America. The porch light made a neat circle on the steps, and the red door looked brave, like it could hold the whole night on its own. Inside, the air was cool and quiet. I set my bag on the counter and touched the white crib by the window. The yellow blanket that Sarah knit waited like a soft promise. Mark kept his jacket on and stood in the doorway between the kitchen and the hall, as if he wasn't sure which room needed him more. "Home," he said, and the word felt both full and empty. We did a slow walk through the rooms, the way guests move when they love the host. The living room had a stack of unopened mail and one bill with red letters that said urgent. I slid it under a cookbook so I could breathe. Mark wrote numbers on a pad. $600 from the roof job he just finished, $1,200 in my savings from copy editing work, $300 from Diane, and the $40 Luke pressed into my hand for parking. We added new costs. $38 a day to park near the hospital, $20 for takeout on days when we were too tired to cook, $15 for gas every 2 trips. The totals changed every time we looked, like waves, forward and back. I stood in the kitchen and opened the back door to let in night air. Our yard was a small square with one maple tree and a fence that needed paint. The neighbor, Olivia, from down the block, called over the fence. "How's the baby?" I told her Ruby was stable and might try a bottle soon. She said she had a hand-me-down rocker in her garage and asked if we wanted it. "Yes," I said, too fast and then softer. "Yes, please." She said she would roll it over tomorrow. In this city, help is often a pushcart, a folded bill, a door held open at the right minute. I thought of Europe again, the idea of people crossing water to begin, and felt a small tug in my chest. I had not crossed an ocean, but I had crossed from the life I knew to the life I had now. Back inside, Mark turned a chair toward the crib and tested the lamp. "When she comes home," he said, "you can sit right here at 3 a.m. and tell her long stories about this house." He touched the wall where the paint was chipped. "We'll fix this. We'll fix a lot." He pulled a jar from the pantry where we keep spare change and poured it on the table. Quarters fell like little moons. We counted. $18.75, enough for coffee and 2 granola bars and maybe a muffin if we shared. He made a list of small jobs he could do for cash, changing a lock for Mr. Reed down the street, patching a fence for Maria on the corner. I wrote names and numbers and little stars next to the ones who always paid on time. My phone buzzed. "Diane, thinking of you. Can send £50 more or $60 when I get paid." I typed back. Dollars would help. She sent a heart. I am learning that love, for us, is often a receipt. A message from Mom popped up next, a photo of her front steps in Cleveland with a new rail and a bright light that Luke had installed. "Safe now," she wrote. I smiled so hard it hurt. Nurse Grace had told me once that healing is not a straight line but a set of stairs you climb again and again. I saved the photo. I wanted that light in my pocket. Before bed, I sat in the quiet and wrote a note to Ruby. I told her about the red door, the maple tree, and the chair that would rock her when the city was asleep. I told her about America, how it can be loud and busy and hard, but also kind in small, steady ways. I told her that Europe is far across the water and that one day we might show her pictures of old stone streets, but for now our street was enough. I slipped the note under the yellow blanket and felt the house breathe with me, slow and sure. Then I turned off the lamp and let the dark hold what it could. Morning at the hospital began with soft wheels and soft voices. I washed my hands, counted to 20, and went in to see Ruby. Nurse Grace met me with a grin that reached her eyes. "She gained 2 more ounces," she said. "Dr. Samuel thinks we can try a bottle this afternoon." The screen above Ruby showed her brave, steady numbers, like small steps on a long staircase. I pressed 2 fingers to her back the way they taught me and told her we were getting closer to the red door at home. I told her about the lamp by the white crib, the maple tree in the yard, and the chair that would rock when the city sighed. Maybe she heard me. Her mouth made a little fish shape, hungry for the day. In the cafeteria, I sat with a cup of $9 coffee that tasted like pennies and hope. I checked my phone, a note from Luke with a photo of Mom standing on her new rail, chin up, coat buttoned. "She's bossing me around already," he wrote. I laughed out loud and sent a heart. There was a message from Diane too. "Can send another $100 on Friday or £80 today. Which helps more?" I typed, "Dollars on Friday is fine," then paused and added, "Thank you. I am not great at asking, but I am getting better at letting yes land." Mark texted from our house in Chicago. "Clean the kitchen, fix the lamp, found $6.50 in the couch. Victory." I pictured him holding coins like tiny medals. By noon, a volunteer brought me 2 meal vouchers and a stack of tiny preemie hats, knit by people I would never meet. I put a pale blue one in my bag and thought of how a stranger's hands had moved for us without asking for anything back. The social worker stopped by and said a charity might cover 2 days of parking. "That's $76, she said, writing it down. "It adds up." I nodded, because everything adds up. Money, miles, good words, bad words, the quiet hours no one sees. Later, Olivia sent a photo of the rocker she was rolling over. White spindles, a scuffed seat, the kind of chair that has held a lot of stories. "Free to you," she wrote. I thanked her and promised cookies. I typed and deleted the part about store-bought cookies for $5, then left it honest and short. They'll be from a box, but they'll be sweet. At 3, Dr. Samuel said, "Ready?" He passed me the tiniest bottle I had ever seen. Ruby rooted like she remembered something old and good. She took a slow ounce, then another half, and the room changed. The machine still hummed, the lights still buzzed, but a new sound rose inside me, quiet and round, like a bell from far away. Mark came in at the end of his shift, smelling of sawdust and cold air. He put his hand on my neck, and together we watched our girl do the simple, holy work of eating. 2 ounces, Nurse Grace said, as if calling out the winning number. I sent a message to the family chat. She took the bottle. Replies jumped in: Luke's yes, Mom's proud of our fighter, Diane's buying gas cards for you Friday. I saved them like small coins. When night fell, I stood in the doorway of the NICU and looked back. That word fit, doorway. A place between. Behind me, weeks of beeps, the $85,000 sheet I hid in my bag, the ache of a silent phone, the photo from a beach across America when I asked for prayer. Before me, the red door of our house, the white crib, the rocker from Olivia, a stack of bills on the counter, and the long, real road of being a mother in this wide country. I thought of Europe across the water, old and steadier in my mind, and I thought of us here, newer and not less strong. On my way out, I bought a $3 granola bar and tucked $2 into the vending machine slot for the next tired mother who would come searching with empty hands. Then I went home to sleep under our roof on Maple Street, ready to open the red door for Ruby when they finally said the word, discharge. That too would be a doorway, and I would walk through it,